সো হ্যালো এভরিওয়ান, আমি আবার চলে এসেছি আপনাদের সাথে। আমাদের এখনকার যে টক, এটা খুবই ইন্টারেস্টিং টক। এটা খুবই ইন্টারেস্টিং এবং ইন্টারেক্টিভ একটা টক হবে। আমাদের সঙ্গে জয়েন করেছেন ব্রুনো সুজা। সো উনি হচ্ছেন জাভা চ্যাম্পিয়ন অ্যান্ড জাভার একদম শুরু থেকে কাজ করছে। লাইক ফ্রম দি ভেরি ফার্স্ট ভার্সন। সো হি হ্যাজ এ লট অফ হিস্ট্রি হি ইজ গোয়িং টু শেয়ার উইথ আস। অ্যান্ড এই সেশনের মূল উদ্দেশ্য হচ্ছে যে আমরা কিভাবে আমাদের কেরিয়ার জাভা কেরিয়ারটাকে আরো গোছাতে পারি, আরো সুন্দর করতে পারি 2022 এর জন্য। সো হেই ব্রুনো, হাউ আর ইউ ডুইং ম্যান?
Hey Bazlur, how you doing? How's everything?
আই
Hey
এম ডুইং
everyone,
গ্রেট.
so good to see you all.
Uh, so we have a lot of audience over here waiting for you. So yeah, we can definitely start the sessions. So আমি এখানে একটু বলে নেই, এখানে যারা অডিয়েন্স আছেন তারা যদি কোনো প্রশ্ন করতে চান, definitely will bring the phone to you. Apart from that, you can definitely ask the question in our group. We have a Java user group in Facebook. Just give a hashtag JagBD. That way we'll pick the question, and we make the question make this session interactive. So this session is fully interactive, and we will continue based on your question.
Yes, that's right. So, thanks everyone. Thanks Bazlur for the opportunity for being here. Thanks everyone for being here with us. The idea is to be very, very interactive. So ask your questions. You guys are on the audience. Please ask your questions. You that watching this on YouTube, right? So we're streaming. I added here, Bazlur. I just added here my channels here too. So if you're watching this on YouTube, feel free to ask any questions. And the whole objective here is to help you on your Java developer career, right? So it's great to be here. Bazlur is a good friend for many years, and it's great to be here in a Java's group. I'm passionate about you guys, right? I'm passionate about Java's groups because that's where I think the real Java community meets, right? So that's where we should be doing, and it's great. So we wanna here to help you. We're right in the end of the year, right? So it's a good moment for us to plan for our career, for us to plan what we wanna do next year, for us to plan what skills we wanna grow, right? So feel free to ask any questions. Bazlur here is also going to be asking questions here. The whole point is to get your career in a better situation by the end of this talk.
So I'm gonna start with a question,
Mm-hmm.
Bruno. I mean,
Yeah,
you have been a part of the community for like 26 years now, right? I mean, Java
yeah.
started in 1995, and then it's still vibrant in the community, right? So when do you think Java will die? We see we hear this sort of blog post now and then. Do you think Java is gonna die soon?
Well, you know what? Programming language don't die, right? They might not be used for new projects, right? Even that doesn't happen, right? Because there's always new things to do. So programming language don't die. They start to be less and less used because the main reason why they start to be less used is because they can't really solve the new problems that show up, right? So when the landscape changes and the language, the programming language or the API or the framework stays, doesn't solve the new problems that show up, right? Then people stop using it. Of course, you always have to maintain old software because doesn't matter. The existing software is still useful, right? So you still have to maintain that. There's a lot of old kind of dead languages, right? That they're still very used around the world, right? And so because the software that they were built that they run are still useful, but that's not Java's problem, right? Java is not dying at all because Java is it's a open standards free software, right? That it's always evolving, right? So as long as there is a community evolving Java, there's no reason why Java cannot solve the new problems that show up, right? So that's what we've seen in the I hear this whole idea that Java is dying since it started, right? Since it started, people say, "Oh, yes, it doesn't solve all the problems, or it's slow, or has this problem, or whatever." Right? So just there's so many reasons for Java is that people are telling. But the biggest strength of Java is you guys, right? So the community around Java is the biggest strength that the Java have, because the whole point of Java is that we all here together, right? Through the Java community process, the JCP, through the Open JDK, the open source Java project, through those projects, we all participate on the evolution of Java. So what happens is when new problems show up, we change things, right? We improve, we add things to the language, we remove things from the language, we change APIs, right? So we improve the JVM, right? The Java Virtual Machine. So we are always improving and changing the technology to to make Java available and ready to solve the big problems. So what's been happening with Java in the last 25 years is that basically every time new problems show up, right, Java grows and raises the challenge, right? And so then Java becomes one of the most important language on the new problems, right? So there's no reason why this can't continue for a long, long time. So I don't see any sign that Java is dying. I don't see any sign that Java is being less used, for example, right? But on the contrary, Java is still one of the five top languages. Remember that, right? It's not about being the best or being the top, right? It's not, right? There's always going to be a range of language that people are going to be using all the time to solve all kinds of different problems. So Java is it's like one of the top two languages. I think it's JavaScript now, right? JavaScript is the top language, and then there's Java. And if you think about this, how important that is, right? JavaScript is everywhere, right? There are JavaScript on Java project. There's JavaScript on Python project. There's just JavaScript on C# projects. There's JavaScript on everywhere, right? There's even JavaScript on JavaScript projects, right? And so every project in every language, there's some JavaScript in it. So JavaScript became the top language, not the top language because it is the language that solves the hardest problems, right? But it's a top language because it is an important language, and it's part of every project that exists. So as long as Java is on the top languages, Java is going to be very vibrant and very useful, right? So that's awesome.
Thank you, Bruno. I would like to mention one thing over here. Many of our audience are watching this session from the YouTube. So if you
Mm-hmm.
have a questions, please feel free to ask the questions. We're gonna take some of your questions, in most important one definitely. So yeah, let's make this session interactive. And if any of one from here in this auditorium you want to ask a question, please feel free to raise your hand. We'll pick that question. So Bruno,
Yeah.
you have mentioned
So
about
basically,
the
and just so you know, I added YouTube and Facebook. So there might be some people from Facebook also. I see a question there from Facebook. So that's great.
So before doing that, Bruno, you mentioned about the JCP, and you have been part of the JCP for many years, and you
Hmm.
are an executive members of the the JCP. Can you
Hmm.
tell us a little bit how JCP works and how they shape the Java community and Java itself?
Yeah. So the Java Community Process, we call it JCP, is the place where Java evolves, right? So basically, Java it's an open source project, right? It's based in that's available on OpenJDK, but it's also a standard based project, right? So everything what's the difference, right? So by being open source through the OpenJDK, it means that all the source code for Java is available. So if someone asked it here was the most efficient way to learn Java, I'm not sure about efficiency, but one great way to learn about Java is understanding how Java is built, right? How the project works. So OpenJDK, it's an awesome place for you to be there because it's where the code of Java is being created, right? So if you can participate on that, I have a good friend of mine that early this year he had never participated in an open source project. Now he's an author on OpenJDK, so it's possible. Anyone that wants, it's possible to start participating on the open source Java project. But so that's where the code is built, right? but it's not enough. A lot of technologies out there are open source technology. You have things like Ruby or Python or PHP or or C#. I mean, all those are open source built, right? So there's an open source project where uh, where the evolution of the technology happens on open source. That is awesome, right? It's great that Java is an open source project, but that's not enough. Why do I say that's not enough? Because if you all you have is the open source project, then all you have is one single implementation of the language, right? And we see that problem. We see there is a I remember, for example, I'm not sure how far that went, right? But I remember, for example, when Facebook tried to speed up PHP, right? So they tried to build their own PHP engine, but PHP did not have a standard, right? So they can't really build a second PHP engine because it's not compatible with the one that exists because there's no standard. Java not only has an open source project, but it also has a standard. That means that other companies, other people can build compatible implementation of Java. So that means we have competition, right? And we like to say we have co-petition. We collaborate on the standards. We collaborate on the open source project, but we also compete by building different things that are compatible, right? So we have so many companies today that build compatible Java VMs, right? And so the importance of this is that allows Java to be way more important, way more used, and has a much more interesting future, like we're talking before. So the JCP, the Java Community Process, is the place where the standards of Java are created.
Thank you, Bruno. That was a really good introduction of GCP. Let's take some questions from the audience. We're
Yeah, let's do that.
here. There is a question. It's related to AI. Let me bring that. AI is one of the cool thing nowadays. Everyone wants to
Right.
learn AI. So the question is, will AI replace Java developer?
No, that's easy. No, right? I mean, look, um, AI will not develop your code, right? I just want to make sure that you understand that AI, software development is a creative process, right? That means that when you're creating software, there's so many different ways that you can do that. That basically what's going to happen is that AI, AI is not creative, right? AI can do things, can streamline things, based it on previous things that are done, right? It's not a creative process. So AI is not going to replace the software developer. But I want you to understand that AIs will definitely get better as a tool to help you develop code, right? Now, if all you do is develop very easy, very simple, non-creative code that could be just done automatically, yes, AI will replace that. What's interesting, because it's going to free us to do the important things, right? To do the fun things, to do the things that are creative, right? So yes, it's a tool that can help you build better software by removing the obvious, the non-fun thing, the repetitive work, right? But we always going to be needed, guys. The software developers are always going to be needed because we need the creativity, right? So yeah, for example, let's think another field, right? Can AI play music? Yes. Can AI write music? Yes, right? It can do that, but can AI be creative? No, right? So AI projects are not extremely interesting because there's not a lot of code for you to do them, right? Because you have a model, right? And then you adjust your model, and then the thing just runs, right? So it does their own thing. So I think but someone has to write the AI code, and that's you, right? So all the hard problems that need to be solved in software development, we're still gonna have to do. Now, what's gonna be interesting is that AI will allow for more people to develop software, right? So and that's a trend that's going on for many, 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 many years, right? Even before Java, people would have things like Microsoft Excel, right? Microsoft Excel helped non-programmers to do software, right? To build software systems, right? I'm sure some people that have this huge spreadsheets that do all kinds of crazy stuff, right? And so researchers, for example, have these huge spreadsheets that do all kinds of stuff. So non-developers were able to do software by using Excel. So that kind of thing is going to continue. So AI will help non-developers to do more software. And I think that's a good thing because, I'm sure you don't want to do the boring stuff of, just kind of calculating things, right? You want to do the cool, interesting systems that will allow other people to use what you did to build more interesting stuff.
Thank you for these wonderful answer. Let's take a question from the audience. Who wants to ask a questions from the audience?
Yeah, come
um,
on, guys, raise your hands. Woohoo!
uh,
Okay, I see. Is there a microphone there?
okay, let's see. They will bring the camera to the audience, I guess.
Oh, they bring the camera to the audience. That's pretty cool. Awesome. And by the way, you can ask the question is Bengali.
Hello, I'm Neil Ahmed. So, as you know, that we all are here very much. Hello. So, আমি যেটা বলতে চাচ্ছিলাম যে what I'm trying to say, the people that have gathered here all we all love Java and we all know that it's quite an old language and being used by the industry and battle tested and being used by the enterprise companies for a long time. In between, I have seen many JVM-based languages coming out, and recently one of the languages is Kotlin, which is interoperable with Java. So I have seen many projects where Java is being used as long as Kotlin, since because of the interoperability. So my question is, what is your opinion about Kotlin, and will it be used more and more outside Java, and uh, will it be more popular than Java? Is there any chance, or how we gonna industry is gonna adopt Kotlin alongside Java?
All right. Look, that's a great question. I'm sorry I didn't catch your name, man, but that's a great question. Thanks a lot. But the thing is, having different languages running on top of the Java VM, that's like such an awesome idea that was built into Java from the very, very beginning. I remember when I was just starting evangelizing Java, we had so many languages. I used to have a slide in my presentation. I don't know, in 1998 or 1999, right? I used to have a slide in my presentation that had like 100 languages that would run on top of the Java VM. It's everyone by that time. Everyone wanted to put their language in Java VM. I saw a question here about Grau VM, for example, right? It's so great that we can have things like the Grau VM that we can run multiple languages on top of the Java VM. So I love the fact that Kotlin was built, developed as a way, to benefit from the Java VM. I don't see now. So I think Kotlin is a great language. I think that Kotlin. Actually, Kotlin is the language that I don't know. I never worked with Kotlin. I have never done anything with Kotlin, and I actually use Kotlin when I talk about the five levels of ignorance. Right? I use Kotlin as an example of my ignorance in Kotlin, and so. But I think Kotlin is a great language. Lots of people are using it. I don't see any trends that shows that Kotlin is going to replace Java as a language, right? But what I love about Kotlin, and not only Kotlin, but many other languages, that once we can run any language on top of the Java VM, what happens that language benefits from everything the Java VM has. It benefits from all the frameworks. It benefits from all the libraries. It benefits from all the from all the ecosystem, right? And I think Java was built to allow that to happen, right? And so that is an awesome thing. It adds to the Java ecosystem. It doesn't retract from the Java ecosystem. The other way around. It adds to the Java ecosystem because now more people can participate in this awesome ecosystem. So I love that people are using Kotlin. I think that if you like, if that's a language that solves problems for you, yes, by all means, go use it. And the fact that it interacts with everything that you did in Java before just makes the whole ecosystem a lot better and more strong and stronger.
Thank you. That's a great answer. Anyone else wants to ask questions?
Yeah, guys, feel
Uh,
free to ask any questions there in the audience. We are here for you, by the way, right? Bazlur asked me, should we have a talk? I should know. Let's ask questions from the audience. That's a lot better. So yeah, why someone there is raising their hand? We have some questions here from the chat, man. And so let me answer a few of those here.
sure,
What's the
sure.
most efficient way to learn Java or any programming language? The most efficient way to learn anything in your life. I actually have a program that teaches that, right? The most efficient way to learn anything is doing, right? Stop learning and go do, right? If you want to learn Kotlin, go do a Kotlin project. If you want to learn Java, go do a Java project, right? Go do things. That's the most efficient way by far. Should I start with Java as a beginner, right? And what's the future of desktop application development in Java? Okay, so yeah, I see no problem that you started Java as Java as a beginner, right? So now that we have our repo, right, so like the Java shell, where you can easily experiment with Java code, I think it's awesome for beginners to start with Java. So yeah, by all means, start with Java as a beginner. That's not a problem at all. Now, what is the future of desktop? Actually, Bazlur here, right? Maybe he can talk a little bit about that later on. He's part of the Java in Education initiative, right? Where the whole objective is to help universities to teach Java for beginners, right? So that's awesome. So now, what is the future of desktop applications? Not only in Java, in any language, right? So desktop applications are a niche business. What do I mean by niche business? You don't want to, as a business, you don't want to put a desktop applications for your user to download, right? Actually, even on a cell phone, right? Even on a cell phone, last and last, people are willing to download applications just to interact with a business, right? So, more and more people are just gonna access a web page and then use that, right? So desktop applications are niche business because it's awesome for people that really need in-depth things, right? So there's a lot of companies that use Java and in the desktop, right, or even JavaFX to build very sophisticated applications for power users, right? So desktop applications, as well as apps on your phone, right? Those are for power users, right? That want they want to have the application they're going to use every day. They're going to interact with the application frequently. And I think that Java is awesome for doing that. JavaFX is awesome for doing that. Let me see here. I don't know what Air desktop app. No, desktop application are deprecating. Well, yeah, it became a niche project. Okay. AI. We talk about AI already. Why choose Java for web development? Well, because Java is the most powerful language in the market, right? That's why. That's why you should use Java for everything. Java is the actually, I love the phrase from the CEO of Square, right? And he said that Java is the most powerful. I mean, Java is the easiest of the fast languages, right? So Java is extremely powerful. It's a very fast language, and it's an easy language to use, right? So that's why you should use Java for everything. What is the biggest problem that professional Java developers are facing today? I think that the biggest problem developers are facing today is they don't know how to grow in their careers, right? So that's why actually I'm gonna give can I give a book as a gift for everyone, Bazlur? Now that I said again,
Sure.
I'm gonna give a book. You cannot prevent me anymore, right? Because everyone wants it now. All right, I'm gonna give you a book to help you grow your career. How about that? That's gonna be awesome. I'm just gonna
Sure.
quickly answer the
I'll
question.
send the link.
Yes, okay. So will GraalVM native compilation give the traditional JVM good competition? Yeah, I think. No, look, I don't think that the native compilation is necessarily competing with the JIT. They're different uses, right? You're gonna use the native compilation when you know where you're gonna run your code, right? And so when and by the way, let me tell you this: native compilation, you lose JIT. I don't think you understand. A lot of people don't understand that, right? When you do native compilation, what it does is that it does the best it can to optimize your code at compile time, right? And then that's what you have. But when you have the JIT compiles your code when it needs, and then on the long run you get better performance, right? So the JIT's going to be used for long running applications, right? But the native compilation is going to be used for short term compilation, right? So, for example, if you want to do a microservice that needs to start very fast, and it's just going to run for a couple of seconds, and that's it, right? Then you're probably going to use you might be better off using native compilation. So those solve different problems. They're not necessarily competing with each other, right? But yes, there's always the good thing about Java is that because there's a competition, companies and projects and things like this, there is a competition, and people are trying to improve them. So because of GraalVM, JIT's going to be better, and because the GraalVM is going to be better. So that's awesome for everyone.
All
All right,
right. So let's see if anyone from the audience wants to ask any
all right,
questions.
go ahead.
Um, yeah, please raise your hand if you have any question. Any question related to Java doesn't have to be specific to the topic. Any question are welcome, I guess.
Right. Okay. So whenever you want, Bazlur, I'm gonna put here my screen so I can share the book for everyone. Oh, you're ready
Okay,
to do
so
this?
that's
Okay. All right. Okay, guys. So let me quickly give you this gift here for you, right? So I think that planning for your life, planning for your career is the best thing you can do to really get your career going. So I wrote this small book called The Best Developer Year. The whole idea of this book is to help you plan and implement the best career in your life, right? So I give you the 4 steps for you to go from plan to action, right? So you put your name and email here, and that book's going to help you. Actually, if you read the book, right? You read the book, answer the questions. That book's going to help you have the best developer year in your life, right? So, so I think that's the way to solve the biggest problem that developers have. That is planning their career, right? So take a picture of this page right there, or download from that URL, and make sure that you have the QR code. Get the book for free because that's the best year. Now, the more important thing, once you download this book, on the second week of January, I'm going to spend a whole week working with you to help your grow your career this year, right? So I'm going to do a workshop, the Best Developer Year workshop, where I'm going to help you grow your career this year. So, all for free. So download the book now. Whoever downloads the book is going to be invited for the free workshop. So do this now and don't lose. All right. So
all right.
let's
We're gonna get a question, I guess. Let's take
yes,
the question.
let's
Uh,
leave this on let's leave this on the screen while we hear the
Super.
question. Then
Okay.
once you start
Hi,
answer the
I'm
question,
Abdul. So a couple of days ago, I was doing some research and came across a buzzword, escape analysis in Java compiler. So I need your 2 cents regarding escape analysis and object allocation on a stack. Thanks.
I'm not sure if I understand the question. It's like an echo. Were you able
so
to get that, Basler?
let me yeah, I got the question. So basically what he is asking about, there is a term in escape analysis in the while when Java, basically Java runs compiles. So the idea is when he is basically asking about the escape analysis, what it is and what is the needs for it mainly.
I'm not sure if I understand it either from you. So from the Java compiler, what he's asking exactly?
So can you sort of write the question over here? That will be easier to understand, I think. um,
Yeah, or if you can write for me on private chat whatever you understand, and Okay, we're gonna figure out your question here. So if you can write the question, that's gonna be better because it was
Sure.
too much echo.
All right. So yeah, can anyone else wants to? We'll definitely answer that question. But before that, can anyone else want to ask the questions?
Right. Okay. So
You
I'm
can.
not sure exactly what the question was, but if you want to remove the book, that's okay. But look, the coolest thing about Java, right, and about the Java compiler. Oh, oops.
Sorry.
Okay,
Sorry
now,
about
now,
that.
all right. So the coolest thing about Java, right, is that the whole source code of Java is open source, and actually the Java compiler is open source. So if you're interested in compiling this, man, my suggestion to you, whatever what the question was, my suggestion to you is go take a look at the source code, right? Take a look how the Java compiler works because it's awesome, right? The Java compiler not only the whole source code is available, but it's always being improved, right? So take a look at how the source code works. Take a look what the compiler does, and that's gonna be very helpful for you, especially if you are if you're a university student, for example, and you're working on like I did, and I'm not sure how universities do things those days, but when I was in university, I had to build a compiler, I had to build a operation system, I had to build a database, right? I had to build all that. So it's so cool to be able to get the source code for the Java compiler, one of the most important compilers in the planet, right? And take a look how things work, and take a look how you actually can improve that. So that's my suggestion. I was not really sure what the specific question was, but I'm gonna answer generically here by take a look at the source code of Java. That's gonna be awesome.
The question is related to the allocation of object. The idea is, when we Java allocate the object, it decide whether it's gonna allocate in stack or the heap. Let's say we have a method and the object doesn't escape from this method, then it's
Mhm.
gonna allocate in the stack. Otherwise, it's gonna allocate in the heap. That's the idea. So he was asking about to know about that basically. um,
Right. Okay. So yeah. So look, the best way for you to do for you to think so there's three places I would suggest you take a look. Right. Three places. One is the specification of Java VM. Right. The Java VM specification is awesome. Actually, I have the book here from the very very old. In the past, it was like a book. Today we just see online. Right. So take a look at the Java specification because Java specification shows you how the memory of Java is defined. Right. And so, how Java use the heap, how Java use the stack, and so I think that's an awesome way for you to take a look. So take a look at the Java specification. It's not very hard to read. The specification is actually very very readable, and it's going to probably help you a lot. If that doesn't help you, take a look at the Java VM code, right? Because the whole thing about the memory is not about the compile; it's actually about the Java VM, right? So take a look at Java VM code, and you can see how the Java VM works. And actually, the cool thing is that you don't need to take a look at the OpenJDK. It's a very, very complex, very big project. You can take a look. There's a lot of easy Java VMs right there, right? Like there's a Java VM written in JavaScript, for example. So there's a lot of small and simple Java VMs. And when you can take a look at the source code of those projects because then you can see exactly how Java works. Don't the OpenJDK project is very optimized. It's very very. There's all kinds of tricks to get more performance. There's a lot of code reading in assembler, right, to get the best performance. But there are Java VMs written in Java, right? There are Java VMs written in JavaScript. So they are easy for you to understand, easy for you to see how it works. And I think that's the best way for you to take a look. And the last place for you to look is on the Java compiler itself, the source code for the Java compiler, if you want to take a look at that. All right.
All right, let's take more some of the other questions from the chat.
Yeah,
There are a lot of questions we have received over
all right.
here.
So look, man, I'm gonna be here as long as you need me. So I know we're probably out of time already, but so already Android developers switch to Java to Kotlin language, right? What do you think in the future of Java in native development? Okay, so I think he's talking about native development for cell phones, right? So look, if you're interested in writing Java application for cell phones, I would suggest you take a look on JavaFX. JavaFX has a, you are able to compile for both through iOS and Android. It's an awesome way for you to develop applications for phones, right? So take a look at that. I think there's a bright future there. So that's a good place to start. Um, I know both Java and Kotlin. My question is, why should I choose Java over Kotlin for my next project? Okay, so why should I choose a language for my next project? Well, it depends what your project is, right? So it's not about the language; it's about the projects, right? So let me say, for example, if your company is your next project is going to be in your company, and your company says we're going to use Java for next project, well, that's you have, right? If your company has lots of Kotlin developers, they say which language should we use? Go with Kotlin because you have lots of Kotlin developers, right? Now, so a lot of it's not about the language, it's about your project, what you want out of your project. Now, one thing I'm going to say is, if what you want is be able to hire people in the long run, right, and have a stable standard based language that you know is going to be evolved by many companies, go with Java, right? If what you want to do is you want to experiment a new Kotlin on a new project just to see how Kotlin is, go with Kotlin, right? So depending on the goals for your project, Java is here for the long run, right? So the sooner you learn Java, the better prepared you are for the next 20 years. Okay.
Hey Bruno, so I want to ask the questions. It's probably one of the questions that juniors developers really ask
All
in our
right.
group, which is what are the ways to be a develop expert developer or master developer, from a junior developer to a master developer. Perhaps this is one of the most asked question in our group. So I know
All
you
right.
have a framework and you have a list, top like top 5 steps. If you could share that in briefly, I guess it will be beneficial for the audience as well.
All right. Okay. So look, whatever level you are as a developer, there are five skills that you need to work on every single day. All right. If you're missing one of these skills every single day, you're not growing as a top developer, right? So there are 5 things you need to do every single day. So one of them, so 3 of those things makes you a developer, right? One of them is it's really your job, and one of them is how makes your career grow. Okay, so 5 things. First of all, you got to read code. It's amazing how many developers don't read code that other people wrote. How many developers don't read their own code, right? They write code and forget, right? So no, reading code is an amazing important skill. You can always read code in a better level every day. So go read code you don't understand yet, right? It's not about reading code that you understand, right? That you already know. Every day, go try to read code you don't understand. Force yourself to learn new things. So, for example, you want to learn Kotlin, go read code. Go read Kotlin code, right? That's a great way for you to learn a programming language. Go read code that other people wrote. Open source is great for that. Second thing you got to do every day, write code, right? Developers need to write code. I see a lot of developers that they buy, like, for example, training, or go to Udemy and download courses and do all that. And so they are learning. They read. They get the book and they read, right? That's not enough. You got to write code, right? Every day. So if you're not writing code every day, you're not improving, right? And by the way, write code that you don't know. Go try things that you haven't experimented yet, right? Try new languages. Try to write code in new language, even language that you're not going to use, right? So I think that you should experiment everything, right? But because that's going to make you a better developer. Learning a new programming language will make you a better developer, even if you don't use that new programming language, right? So go write code every day. Third thing you got to do that's also going to make you a developer, you have to deliver codes. We don't write codes to sit on our computer or to put on GitHub, right? We write code for people to use. So if you don't write code for people to use, you're not being a developer. So you have to put your code in someone's hands, right? whatever that is, right? Get a friend for you to use yourself, right? So write useful code that people are going to use every day. Now, for that, so those are the three skills that are going to get you to be a better developer. Now, those skills are not going to be enough for you to grow your career because you need two more, right? The fourth skill is what really is a software developer. A software developer is someone that reads code, write code, deliver code to solve problems, right? You have to be solving problems every day. If you're not solving problems every day, new problems, right? If you're not solving new problems every day, you're not growing as a developer, right? So basically, try to solve problems you don't know how to solve. Look around when you walk to work, when you drive to work, when you are working from home. Look around and see problems and think, how would I solve that problem using code? Right? Because there's a lot of problems in the planet, right? There's a lot of problems in your life that you have to think about how I use code to solve that problem. And once you find out how to solve that problem by using code, shut down your own project. Think about why is this not going to work? Because every idea we have has flaws and it's not going to work for some reason. So think about how it's not going to work and propose a new solution. Practice in your head. Train your brain to be a problem solver. Look in your company. Look at your projects. Look at your delivery. Look at your customers. Train your brain to solve problems, right? So now, once you solve problems by reading, writing, and delivering code, you're going to be an awesome developer. Now, that's not going to be enough for you to grow your career because there's a fifth step, right? The fifth thing you need to do is share what you know. The thing that's going to make your career explode is sharing what you know, right? So once you read, write, and deliver code and solve problems, every day share something. Share a new thing that you learned, share a new insight that you had, share a new problem that you find out, right? Share your what you know. Once you share what you know, what happens is that other people around you know what you know. And when they know what you know, they trust you in what you know. And when they trust you in what you know, when they need what you know, they call you and not someone else. Right? So that's how you're going to grow your career. You read, write, and deliver code every day. You solve problems every day. And then you share what you know. And once you share what you know, people are going to hire you to do more interesting projects. And then you create a spiral of growth.
All right. Thank you, Bruno. We are top of the hour. So
Yes.
we have to close, but this was really fantastic, sessions, and I really thank you for your time. It's morning, I know but yeah, thank you, and on behalf of the community and over here in Bangladesh, we really thank you. So
Thank you very much.
that's all for today. I'm gonna end this stream now.
Okay, thanks, Bazlur. Thanks a lot. It was great to be here with you. Thanks everyone for being here. And if you guys, I hope to see you guys in second week of January, where we're gonna work in your career. Thanks a lot. Thanks.
Thank you.